say I'm joining you from Southwest Kerry, overlooking the beautiful Dingle Bay, and my guest is actor, model and writer, all of those, Christopher Warner. Christopher, welcome to Sunday Girl.
Thanks for having
We're really testing our mics today in the garden of your magnificent home.
Thank you.
Christopher, what brought you to here?
Well, after living in cities most of my life, including 15 years in LA, my wife and I were looking for a place that was quieter, less crowded, less chaotic, and fortunately we found it. And really we found this house just purely by chance. We were on a hike one day because we had actually bought a house not far from here, and so we're somewhat familiar with the area, but we're just out and about one afternoon and we came across this 200-year-old farmhouse with incredible views that happened to be for sale. So to make a long story short, we made an offer and spent about 4 or 5 months renovating it, and then moved in April of 21.
Direct connection to Ireland, do you?
My wife does.
Okay.
She was actually able to get citizenship through descent
Okay.
because her grandfather was born in County Mayo.
Okay, great county.
Now, we both have deep Irish roots.
Okay.
Hers are deeper than mine, but our ancestors left to go to America, and we like to think that we've just completed the journey.
Okay, so you've brought a full cycle. You've come home.
We have,
You've come home.
and we're not leaving. So unfortunately, you're stuck with this.
About your career to date, because it's fascinating.
Well, I definitely took a very unconventional route to the entertainment industry. I had studied journalism in college and had been an athlete and competed at a world-class level in athletics. I was also on the US bobsled team. So oddly enough, it was really my athletic background that got my foot in the door when I moved to Los Angeles and started doing very sports-specific type commercials and modeling.
Okay, so it's like fitness modeling. It's what we know as fitness modeling almost
Right.
today. Yeah.
And then that led to working as a stuntman in movies and TV, and then eventually acting.
Okay, and some of the roles that you were in, I know I've seen your show reel, and you were a great cop.
I played a lot of cops. So. Yeah, mainly probably because of my size, and apparently I can look intimidating maybe when I want to. But I did, yeah, and essentially a lot of athletic type stuff, and eventually it was just always one door opening another.
Okay.
It's always been commercials that I think people either know me for. I tell people, if you've watched TV or looked at adverts in the past 30 years,
You've seen me.
you've seen me probably say it's both new and improved, or something along those lines. Exactly Shakespeare. But at the same time, though, it's allowed me to build this career, which is now going on over 30 years.
Wow. Okay.
And it's interesting. One of the first big campaigns I did was for Nike, a company that I'm still working for. Some 3 decades later. It's evolved in that I started out doing things where I was the athlete, and then later the coach, and then the parent, and now the grandparent. In a way, I guess I've created this job security. Right? And
You have, that goes through life with you.
Yes.
Yeah. You're also a writer. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, yeah, like I said, I studied journalism in college, and I've written screenplays, and I'm also a regular contributor to several magazines and websites. I tend to write mainly about history, military history, sports, travel, really the subjects that I find interesting. And now living in Ireland, I've been writing a lot about shipwrecks,
Okay.
of which there are some 15,000 off the coast of Ireland.
Wait, 'cause I know you said that when we were just having a chat beforehand, that there were so many shipwrecks off our coastline here. It's not something we're overly aware of.
One of the more spectacular crashes that had a lot of treasure on board was a ship from the Spanish Armada
Okay.
in the 16th century and crashed in the Blaskets,
Okay.
right, just off of Dingle. So, but it stretches back before then, and there were numerous wrecks during both World Wars, World War One, World War Two, when German U-boats were sinking Allied shipping, and so really, I mean, just a little bit of everything. And again, as someone who has an interest in history to begin with, it's just absolutely fascinating.
And have you ever dived to shipwreck?
No, I'll leave that to the experts.
I did
But-
one. I did one. I
Okay.
did one out in the southern Red Sea. I dived at Thistlegorm. And there was actually airlocks in it,
Okay.
so you could go from room to room and you could actually take out your reg. I remember that. It was a feeling, kind of very unusual feeling, for that kind of underwater. The other sound person has disappeared.
Oh my God. Are you okay? I've written recently about runners like Eamon Coughlin, and before that, Tom Kiley, who for about 20 years in the early 20th century was the best athlete in the world and was the Olympic champion. And what's incredible about his story is that he competed at a time where Ireland was still part of the British Empire, but he was just this very fierce Irishman who refused to compete under any flag but Ireland.
And when you say his name, to my shame, I've never heard of him.
The champion Kiley.
The champion Kiley. Okay, I'll have to look into that.
And I love digging up these kinds of stories
Okay.
because he again, I mean, was just unequal and competed in athletics, competed in hurling and football. Apparently was also a really good fiddler and dancer.
Right.
So.
I'll tell you what we're going to do now. We're going to go indoors. How about that? And we're going to talk about Sheamus.
Let's do.
Okay. So guys, we've now moved inside. It wasn't windy at all.
Slightly.
Ever so slightly windy.
Ireland.
You know, so we're now sitting inside and we're looking out at the most beautiful view. But more importantly, Sheamus is here now to hug the limelight.
Yes, he's ready for his close-up. So when we bought the house, we got an added bonus in this ginger and white tabby. The previous owner, a lovely German woman, had been looking after him, but he was mostly an outdoor feral cat.
Mm-hmm.
And she just called him Cat.
She just called him Cat.
She just called him Cat.
Okay.
Which, aside from not being very imaginative, also wasn't very Irish. So the first thing we did was we changed his name to Sheamus. And as you can see, he's a very stout, proud carryman.
Well, when I came in here to have a look at Sheamus, because I think the very first time we spoke, Sheamus actually came up in the conversation. So he's like your firstborn.
It's his world, we're just living in it.
Well, yes, that is completely true. And you are disobeying him and you're his loyal servant.
Well, yeah, we call him Famous Seamus. No, he's very, very energetic, and being from Kerry, really good at Gaelic football.
Oh, good. Very important. Yeah, very important.
I mean, he can kick with left paw, right paw. In fact, if there was an all-cat, all-Ireland final,
he'd be right there.
Your man would win every
You
year.
never know. You never know what's coming down the tracks.
No, he's like a furry David Clifford. It's incredible.
And he's very fashion forward too. So,
Well,
in former times, a Paul Galvin.
Yes.
You're a cat person, though. Around your home here,
Putting it mildly.
you
Yes.
have portraits on the wall here that will show in a military, like full Napoleonic costume. Maybe it's more, I'm thinking Napoleonic because I'm from Europe,
Sure.
but it's probably more American, so Is it
Yeah.
history?
Yeah,
I'm
there's
open to being corrected here.
no, there's a company that imagine not having cats in your life because you can learn a lot. They're very stoic. They're very loving and loyal, and you would think that we're Egyptian almost by how much we worship them, but we do.
I think you can learn a lot about people in general with their own relationship with animals.
Absolutely.
In the industry now 30 years. I know I met you, I think about a year ago when you gave me a call, and we were delighted to hear from you and delighted to work with you and to represent you. But if you were to give advice to someone entering the industry now, what would you say to them?
Well, I can offer a quote from Samuel Beckett, who famously said, "Ever tried, ever failed, no matter. Try again, fail better." So, in other words, never give up. The only thing I would add to that is you can start anytime, and you can also pause and then get back to it. So, whatever your passion may be, whether it's singing, dancing, acting, modeling, writing, once an artist, always an artist. And if you happen to be Irish or of Irish descent, it's literally in your DNA.
It is, yeah. It's in your soul.
So just whenever you're ready, get out there and let the world see you shine.
Thank you, Christopher.
Thank you.
That's beautiful. That's great advice. I'm delighted I know you.
I appreciate that.
And thank you so much for being my guest. This Sunday.
He was told that he would get crispy chicken snacks.
Yeah, and I did stop in the store on the way out, and they never heard of them. They said, you can't give those to cats.
Okay, this is awkward, because I'm going to have to explain that after you leave.
Okay. Well, you see, because I'm Irish, I brought him some whiskey that you can warm up and put in the milk.
Ishkabaha.
You see, Ishkabaha.
All right, we're okay. We're sorted.
We're done.
We're sorted. Okay. All right.
Have a great week.
That's a wrap.
Thank you, Christopher.
Thank you.
Thank you.